Speaking of cults, well, that's going to bring us to some real deal mysteries. As Tulsi Gabbard left just about a week ago, and a lot of people attributed it to the fact that she had a conscious disagreement and did not agree with the war, and that was acceptable. However, she used the damn excuse that her husband has a rare form of cancer. Now, like many, first of all, I didn't know she had a husband. Secondly, it made no sense. However, she then released a damning report, her words, on Anthony Fauci. The problem is a lot of what was in the report was a lot of what you might have found on Wikipedia at this point. It's already in the public domain. And to add, the statute of limitations, it's no more. It's now surpassed the legal time frame. And the same applies to a lot of people who have been on the deep state list for quite some time, whether it's Comey. We have yet to even hear anything about John Brennan. Yet we've even yet to hear just anything out of the Guantanamo Bay list of visitors or the federal subpoenas and indictments. We don't know. It's just folklore, mythical things, paranormal to some, just like what was on display moments ago. However, people dug a little more into this, why she left, and what was discovered by this investigator is pretty damning. Tulsi Gabbard, her guru, and the mysterious messages that helped shape her political career. Yeah, that's very interesting. Tulsi, say it ain't so. Well, let's get ready now to deep dive into just exactly who is Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard, her guru, and the mysterious, creepy messages, hundreds of confidential memos detailing politics, policies, guidance for Gabbard from Congress to present day. And this could be espionage just right off the bat. A gentleman named Salzberg actually went down to Hawaii, just to give you a little background on this. Tulsi has described herself as being a Hindu. And what he discovered as he flew to Hawaii, to get some background on this isn't just your mother's version of Hindu. Okay, this isn't just the feeding the statue or the golden cow, putting a dot in your forehead, listening to Ravi Shankar on full blast, with sitar. This is more than that. She belongs to what has been described as a offshoot of Hinduism. And with a blend of Hare Krishna, and grew up in this, like many of the starlets did, from Katy Perry, Julian Assange, Joaquin Phoenix, and his brother River. There's something to this, and the people in these offshoot sectors of these big religions always kind of rise to power some way, somehow. And you always have to remember, too, the CIA, just to give you a little forewarning, the CIA loves the occult. They love to partake in it. They love to project it because it is a form of mind control, which we'll learn here tonight. Well, anyways, after this gentleman went to Hawaii now, she was born into this. Her parents subjected her to a very abusive guru. He started asking people who were part of this sector of Hindu, this cult, if they knew anything about Tulsi Gabbard. A lot of them turned away, but in his findings, he finally reached out to somebody who then gave him was a treasure trove of goods. So it was extraordinary as it's being described. Dozens of attached memos to documents, directives, and advice for Gabbard from her time in Congress to even present day. Some contain instructions on what legislation she should propose, which policies she should embrace, and how she should conduct herself on television. Much authority was given to the so-called leader of this cult. A memo about a proposal to partition war-torn Iraq into 3 states quoted an unnamed person saying it was, quote, time for TG, Tulsi Gabbard, to come up with this idea. So more and more, we're going to learn that she was almost like one of the characters in the video game The Sims, where you control people's lives and you tell them, when to eat, where to go. That's what she is. She's a hologram for a larger meaning. So some of the language was harshly critical now, as this report is now stating. One memo found from January 2015 contained a divisive and derisive assessment of a statement Gabbard was to give in response to Barack Obama's, president at the time, annual address to Congress. Well, here's what it said. It said, in the first place, nobody gives a shit what you think about his State of the Union speech, unless you're going to say something of interest. You're not even trying, you become really intellectually lazy. Now, in another memo, Gabbard was described as chicken shit, quote, and mealy mouth for her comments on a policy proposal. It goes on to say, I noticed that Gabbard, for the most part, was not listed as a recipient of these emails. No, it's always done through proxies and a subordinate, though many went to people around her, including her parents. The attached memos appear to be transcripts, often fragmentary, and spoken remarks of or conversations. Kind of a review of what we talked about and just what a loser you are. See, it's a lot of mental abuse, you'll find out, which many survivors will tell you the mental abuse is almost worse than the physical. Now, some of the memos also included file names that had call with TG, unquote, and attributed remarks to Gabbard, while in others, the spoken remarks refer to Gabbard in third person. But the main speaker in each memo, the person who appeared to be issuing these directives and sometimes castigating Gabbard, was never named. There was simply no attribution or mention to this wizard. Who is this wizard? Well, when pressed, people who were close to the matter didn't want to answer. They didn't want to give any names. However, they wound up finding his name is Chris Butler. Chris Butler, which, when I think of Hindu, off-sect, fringe cults, I don't think of people named Chris Butler. Now, as the digging and findings of these memos, because there was hundreds and hundreds of them, in the months come, they said that the documents revealed that some of the same members who received these memos were involved in separate efforts that used fake social media accounts to boost and defend Gabbard online. So they had a lot of sock puppets in this cult to prop her up. You see that? And you could see sock puppets too in many comments or videos. You'll see a video with, it's 100,000 views. And then sometimes there's no comments. Or 100,000 views and all the comments on the YouTube are great, wonderful, love it. Those are sock puppets accounts, and that's what she was using. Now, none of this, however, would turn out to be straightforward. One person close to both Gabbard and Chris Butler, the guru, would claim that the words in the memos that focused on politics were not Butler's. Although they would decline to answer who they thought it was, Gabbard's team, without addressing specifics, would attack. Everything we're talking about here tonight is hostility against the faith of Hindu. The content of the memos, in addition to that, Gabbard's record in the House found unmistakable parallels to these memos and what she did in her actions and her words during her time in Congress. Now, the main speaker in one of these memos, that goes back all the way to 2014, pressed for her to propose legislation penalizing countries with citizens who had fought for the Islamic State. Get it started in the morning, TG. You need to be the leader in this regard. Don't dick around. Gabbard released a statement the following day. A week after that, she introduced a bill in the House. Now, I'm going to give you an example, too. Now, in October 12th of 2015, a memo labeled CNN Wolf Blitzer Talking Points contained this language about reports that she had been asked by the Democratic leadership not to attend presidential debate. And this is what the memo said. It's not a boo-hoo. I don't get to go to the party situation. Wolf. Okay? It's not a boo-hoo. I don't get to go to the party situation. Wolf. That's what was said. Now, watch the following.
The issue here is not about me saying, boo-hoo, I'm going to miss the party. The issue here is not about me saying, boo-hoo. The issue here is not about me saying, boo-hoo, I'm going to miss the party.
Coincidence? Now, the limited remarks attributed to Gabbard in the memos appear to show her enthusiastically embracing the guidance. She would reply often in these memos, "Oh, that's perfect. The line right there. Oh, I love it. Iraq notes. Love it. That's a great way to put it. Why didn't I think of that?" I mean, is this woman a ditz, or is she? Who the hell is this person? Now, Gabbard's career trajectory has taken her from socially conservative Democrat to progressive darling, Bernie Sanders ally, we all remember, and presidential hopeful, then Fox News contributor, MAGA Republican, and eventually Trump's top intelligence official. Her role granted her access to some of the nation's most sensitive secrets and documents.
Multiple intelligence community assessments released in the months leading up to the November 2016 election concluded that Russia had neither the intent nor capability to impact the outcome of the U.S. election.
Butler, guiding Gabbard's political career, the two of them had kept it under wraps so tightly for such a long time. Now, Gabbard, who was asked by one of the Washington Compost colleagues in 2019 whether Butler had mentored her politically, her answer was, no, not at all. Either way, the document suggested that someone had been telling Gabbard what to do, at least in a few cases, but it goes on and on and on and on. So who is this Butler guy? It's Chris Butler. And he goes back all the way to 77. He incorporated his own organization, eventually settled on the name SIF. It's the name of the cult. His teachings belong to no political tribe whatsoever.
You want to know whether or not I am actually the representative of God? There's so many people saying they're a representative of God. The spiritual world is wherever the spiritual master is. He is the representative of God. He is the external manifestation of God's kingdom, in other words, the spiritual world. So if you can relate to a bona fide guru or a bona fide spiritual master and actually come to perceive or know his transcendental nature, and you actually have a transcendental relationship, you perceive that guru as the confidential servant of God.
Yeah, he was against Muslims, homosexuality, gun control, public schools, and also promoted environmentalism and anti-capitalist. I'm a little more interested in just who this guy is now. Among Butler's disciples were Mike and Carol Gabbard, who moved to Hawaii in the early 80s with their children. They sacrificed and offered Tulsi to the mantle.
Each of us has the right to marry, but we don't have the absolute right to marry anyone we want. For example, I'm not allowed to marry my daughter or my son.
I can't marry my sister or my brother.
And I can't marry Kimo. And I can't marry my dog. This doesn't mean we don't have civil rights. Don't open the door to weird marriages. Don't let homosexuals force their values on the people of Hawaii.
Mike Gabbard also oversaw Butler's personal affairs until he was fired for lapses in judgment. So he was mentoring this. Now, there's been reports of abuse that took place in this cult. However, their prominence came to the fold once Tulsi Gabbard's career started skyrocketing. And how did we not know this? There's no comment. Now, here's what's interesting. This scathing report comes out. Tulsi Gabbard was contacted to make a statement, and nothing. And the Washington Post said this story is going to drop Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Tulsi Gabbard resigns at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 hours before the story came out. Think about that for a second, and once you do, then ask yourself, is she really resigning because of her husband's rare form of cancer? Is she resigning because she objects to the Iranian war? Or did she resign because what has now been discovered is so unexplainable, and not to mention embarrassing, but could potentially warrant an investigation into leaking espionage, if not worse? And does it not also showcase that we have literally an empty suit named Tulsi Gabbard, who is masqueraded around as a Democrat, a classical liberal, a conservative, a MAGA Republican, a soldier with ethics and morality, beach bum ditz from Hawaii, when in fact she's an empty suit who was born into this and really has no opinions, no personality, and takes orders like a true MK Ultra slave. And I think that's what I've discovered in this time of true transparency, finally. So there you have it. That is a real deal mystery we're going to be pondering for quite some time of how this happened.